to be frank with you, the church, as people know it in this country, is quite young. If you compare to England, if you compare to America, and I think that therefore, in terms of what we'll say, institutional knowledge, and all of that, the church is evolving. Okay. And I do believe in the next 5 years, there'll be dramatic changes in the role that the church will be playing in this country.
Tell us, for example, about the Politics and Governance Institute that your church plans to set up.
The thinking behind it is that for whatever any person wants to do, he'll be better positioned to doing it, getting it done, if he acquires the skill to do it, which means they are trained, all right, to do that. And I think that in this country, maybe, for example, a person becomes a successful business person, and then he looks around and says, well, I want to go into politics. And, he gets into the place, and he means well, right? But he suddenly, there are forces that are contending that he didn't even know were in existence. And at least if there's a place where people who aspire to want to go into government and want to go into politics can interact with people who have gone before them, there can be an exchange of skills and ideas. I think it will help in producing better young leaders for society.
Before we leave the issue off the platform, tell me what you think was the major legacy of Platform 2016.
I think Peter Obi's speech on wastage, I think, is one of the most powerful public speeches that have been given in the history of this country. What he explained there is the political ideology for anybody who wants to get into government. When people want to aspire into political offices, what really carries you to that place is an ideology, which means this is what I'm going to do. You paint that picture to people. I think what he expressed is the future.
You reckon that's why there was so much resonance with the people, both in the auditorium and...
Yes. I think people were quite, first of all, people were... The fact that he had done it, I mean, if somebody was just postulating things, as maybe a lecturer, they could have said that, but he has been there. He suffered the consequence of doing that. I'm not saying he's perfect, right? And he didn't say that, right? But you could see that there was somebody who was pushing in a particular direction. And I think that's commendable.
You have a lot of programs targeted at the youth. I would hazard a guess and say that you also read their contributions to national issues on social media. What do you make of the quality of discourse?
Some of the discourse I've seen in social media is very intelligent, to be honest, very enlightened positions. So that would be my thought. I mean, they are more politically aware
than we give them credit for.
Yeah. Some of the things they say they are very intelligent, right? I mean, some of the people that speak on social media. I mean, I heard a United States Senator say this. He said that their country is really run by young people, in the sense that most of the research and the work they do on Capitol Hill, that's their National Assembly, is conducted by very young people. And that so if they want to, they come out and speak about it. But the think tanks that are behind them are young people. And I think in this country they would do well to look into that. Yes, it takes maturity and experience to be able to balance certain things, but they have the energy, the drive, and the intelligence to supply some ideas that are very, very good.
And we should be listening.
When you say listening now, I mean, I'm not saying listening as in that elders surrender the leadership to young people in that sense. But I'm saying that, yes, that they have a lot of ideas to contribute.
But what's just touched on is one of the things that I guess young people want. they want elders to surrender leadership to them. Is power given or taken?
No, power is not given. No, nobody gives power. The nature of power is not, you don't give power to people. Even if you're going to give power, you're going to give power on conditions, all right, that whatever you want projected is projected, okay? And the warfare is not with guns and knives, but it's in thinking, strategy, and all of that. So that I think if the young people, what they will say is that you need, it's going to cost money and all of that. So we are not enabled to do that. But there are ways in which you can go about it in terms of getting to a place of influence, to influence things.
What ways do you recommend?
As for the institute.
That's for the institute. So we should wait. You know, I read their comments too, and I know that one of their pet peeves, young people, is the gospel of what Catholic Reverend Ignatius Kegama called the charismatic display of talent and material salvation, as well as the ostentatious living of some ministers of God. How can we separate the pastor's purse from the church's purse?
But how do you know that the pastor's purse is not separated from the church's purse?
It was a question I asked.
I don't know that. I don't know.
You know, it's generally assumed, from what I read, from what people say, it's generally assumed that, there's no line between the church and the pastor. Is that the case?
No. People I know, the people I know in ministry that are seemingly prosperous, as in people know them to be prosperous people, there is a sharp line between it. They do not. There is people I know, I don't know about other people, but people I know, there is a clear-cut demarcation between that which belongs to ministry and that which belongs to them. That I know.
Everybody is being required to pitch in, to national development. Should churches pay taxes now?
On the offerings of the people in terms of charitable donations, no. If you say that a church is running a business, you open up a business and it's run purely as a business, all right, which is separate from the church, then you can say yes.